What's up, guys? So we just moved from the Bay Area to Tucson, Arizona about a month ago. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you guys all about it. I'm gonna tell you why we moved. I'm gonna tell you about the moving experience. I'm gonna tell you about our lifestyle changes, how much money we saved, and a bonus topic at the end. So stay tuned and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, hit that bell so you get notified. So why did we move out of the Bay Area? Well, let me set the stage for you. You know, we're living in this apartment in Emeryville, California, paying $2,700 a month in rent. And the only reason why we're there, the main reason why we're there, is because the jobs are there. You know, we're working in the tech industry and they require us to basically go into the office every day. So coronavirus comes around, eventually it gets bad enough, they start shutting things down. Our job tells us to, hey, you need to work from home for the foreseeable future. And that was around March 5th. So around that time, actually as soon as that happened, I started asking myself, okay, well then what the heck are we doing here? Why are we paying all this money in rent if we don't have to go to the office anymore? So I was thinking, okay, let's go and rent out our apartment and then go live in a short-term apartment somewhere else, maybe like maybe in Nevada or something. So we wanted to do that, but it turns out that we couldn't sublease our apartment. So we just had to wait until our lease was over. So I just pretty much just forgot about it. I was like, dang, well, I guess we're gonna stay here. And then, so about 2 months before our lease was gonna end, our lease ends in August, about 2 months prior to that, we started thinking, well, since people are leaving the city, working from home and stuff, why don't we negotiate on our rent? You know, usually your rent goes up every year, but I was thinking, you know what, maybe we can make our rent go down this time. And so we did successfully negotiate our rent to save $100. So it went from $2,700 to $2,600. So we're gonna save $100 a month, which is amazing. And the way we did that was by actually showing our landlord like comparable apartments within the same building that was a much lower price than what we're paying. And on top of that, one thing I've always wanted to do is to have our lease end in the winter time. Because see, that's really bad for landlords, but really good for tenants. Because in the winter time, that's when things are cheaper. In the summertime, things are more expensive just because that's when the school cycle is. So usually people are renting more in the summer. We pretty much already worked that out with our landlord to have an 18-month lease for $2,600 a month. So we're like, okay, mission accomplished. So the landlord never sent us the lease, and see, that was his mistake. Okay, he was kind of sitting on his hands. He was kind of taking his sweet time. And so turns out that during that time, we started getting other ideas. And so we're thinking, you know what? Wait, do we actually want to be here? I mean, people are really starting to leave, and it seems like this coronavirus thing is not really ending anytime soon. So we started looking outside the Bay Area. We're like, you know what? No, we're not going to renew our lease. We're going to get out of here. And then we're like, you know what? Why don't we just get out of California, period, and make this more of an adventure? Okay, let's get out of Dodge. So we started looking on the map and we're like, okay, we want to go someplace within driving distance of California, someplace we could take a road trip to in a few days. So we couldn't go to like New Jersey or something like that. And so we started looking at basically Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah, Las Vegas, and Tucson or Phoenix, Arizona. And for one reason or another, we just chose Tucson, Arizona, because we had driven through Arizona a couple years back on a road trip when we moved from Dallas to the Bay Area. And we had figured that Tucson, Arizona, this whole Arizona area was very nice. It's extremely hot, but we liked what we saw. So that's what made us choose Tucson, Arizona. And it turns out we ended up lowering our rent significantly. It went from $2,700 a month to about $900 a month. So we're saving $1,800 a month by getting out of Dodge. Now, this isn't a permanent move. Our plan so far is to be here until March. And we have to go back because eventually they're gonna call us to go back into the office. Now, we do actually have an option to work from home like forever, but we're just not quite sure. We haven't quite done the math on how that's going to work out. We're still in the beginning stages of our career, and so from what I've heard, it's hard to move up through your career when you're working remotely, because people are going to forget about you. You know, they're going to be socializing with everyone else in the office, whereas you got that remote guy who, you know, people don't talk to that often. Is like you're always going to be promoted last, and plus it's harder to get jobs. Whereas in the Bay Area, you know, it's the tech mecca. There's another thing I got to add about why we moved from the Bay Area to Tucson. You know, this just really goes to show the power of being proactive about your finances. You know, you can kind of go with the coast, do what you're currently doing, and maybe that is working for you. But sometimes, you know, it's kind of like, it's the same way if you want to increase your income, you got to go out there and grab it. If you want to decrease your expenses, you also got to go out there and grab it. You know, it would have been very easy and convenient for us to just stay in California, just keep living in that comfortable apartment. We had an amazing drop-dead gorgeous view. I mean, everything was great. We could have just stayed there, but we packed our bags and we left because we wanted to save money, and we know the importance of that and how that fits in line with our financial goals. So I think that's an important thing that you guys want to keep in mind, is to be proactive about your finances, both when it comes to increasing income and reducing your expenses. So let's talk about the move. So it started off, we kind of planned it wrong. First off, I have a car, so we have to take our car and we have to drive the U-Haul to Arizona, right? And but we wanted to only drive in one car. So basically we're gonna drive in the U-Haul and we're gonna ship our car, well, not ship it, but tow our car from the U-Haul. Problem is, we just never done that before. And so that was one of the biggest things we're nervous about is how to tow a car. Because, I mean, it's not like you're just driving a regular car. You have to, like when you're making a turn, you gotta make very wide turns. And you know, you're thinking like, okay, well, what if like the car behind us, which is our car, what if we end up like swinging it into someone and it ends up causing some damage? We end up getting an accident, who knows? So that was one thing we're worried about, is that tow dolly. And it turns out that, so one thing that's kind of tricky about it is that you're not supposed to reverse. You're not supposed to reverse in that thing. And so that just, that, like every time you're going anywhere, it's like you've got eagle eye vision. You gotta look like way far, and you gotta look all around to say, okay, if I'm gonna pull into this gas station, are we gonna be able to get out of that gas station? Is there a clear path for us to just drive forward the whole entire time? And it turns out that one time we actually made a mistake. We looked at the gas station. It looked like that we could drive forward, but it turns out that there's like this big median that was like that we couldn't see, and that it was like near the pump. And so it turns out that we could not just, you know, forwardly drive out of there in a circle. We had to reverse, and I had no clue what I was doing. And it took forever to do that. Luckily, coincidentally, there was this guy who, he was towing his boat from his pickup truck. So he was like, he already knew exactly how to do that, exactly how to, I think he called it jackknife it or something like that. But yeah, it's like you had to turn the steering wheel in like the opposite direction of where you really want it to go. But yeah, it was really hard to figure it out. But we eventually got out of that, and thank goodness. But during the entire time, we were on our toes. We were thinking, okay, if we go into this hotel, are we gonna be able to get out of there? What happens if someone like blocks us in? Yeah, so that was kind of annoying. But going back to when we were moving, you know, obviously moving's a pain. You gotta pack everything up. Well, the good thing is that you get to throw away stuff. You get to throw away all the junk that you thought you needed, but turns out you don't need. And yeah, just throw it all away, live a minimalist lifestyle. So that's the good thing. But the bad thing is, so we didn't really plan it all that well. We ended up getting the U-Haul near our apartment, and we basically only had a few hours to pack everything up and basically get everything out of our apartment into the U-Haul. And what we should have done is figured out a way to like do that process over the span of like maybe like 2 days, but we only had a few hours to do it. And this weird thing is that, so you have to reserve the elevator if you're going to move, because it's like basically, it's like they don't want you moving all this stuff in the elevator when other people are there. So you have to reserve an elevator specifically for moving. And we ended up like blowing past that timeline, and they were like calling us, being like, hey, well, like, are you guys done? And we're like, oh yeah, we just need like 20 more minutes. And we were running, like literally running from our apartment to that elevator. We were breaking a sweat, to say the least. So let's talk lifestyle changes. How is life differently moving from the Bay Area to Tucson, Arizona? Well, for one, the biggest thing by far and away is the weather. It's just too hot in Arizona. I mean, it's not like this is a surprise. It is Arizona. We expected this, but nonetheless, one thing I used to do is during my lunch breaks, I would go outside and I would go for a walk or a run. And so I like being able to just go outside and just do that in the middle of the day. Here in Tucson, Arizona, you can't do that because it's like you're on Mars or something. It's like burning up outside. So, so now I exercise at night, but I feel okay about it because, you know, it's kind of like once you start getting in the rhythm of doing something, you pretty much just get used to it. Second thing is, there's pretty much no bodies of water here, like pretty much anywhere, at least not that I know of. There's no beaches, no lakes, no nothing. I mean, you could go to a pool. We do have a pool at our apartment complex, that's great. But if we just wanted to like go to a beach or a lake, you know, just to relax, we can't do that. Another lifestyle change is that we had more friends there. We were there for 2 years, so we had kind of gotten acquainted with a number of people. I had some friends from Austin, Texas, and we knew people from work. We met people through networking events. And yeah, so we would hang out with our friends, you know, sometimes a couple times a week, sometimes like once a week or every other week. But here we only have one group of friends. So it's pretty much just us here. But it's not that bad because I still keep in touch with people. You know, we've got some group chats. I like to call people, so that works out okay. What else for lifestyle changes? I think that's pretty much it. Well, oh, how could I forget? So in the Bay Area, you know, you take a shower every day, right? Like a normal person. But here you take a shower 2 or 3 times a day because you go out to the grocery store, you get back, you're dripping sweating. You're dripping wet because, I mean, it's just so hot. So let's talk about money saved. We're paying $2,700 a month in the Bay Area. Moved here, now we're paying only about $900 a month, so we're saving $1,800 a month. And we're gonna be here for about 8 months, so it's gonna be about $14,000 or so. You subtract moving costs and maybe some unexpected expenses that'll come up, let's say about $11,000 or $12,000. So that's how much we saved by moving here. We were proactive. We decided, hey, we're gonna get out and we're gonna save money in a major way. So $12,000, but there's more. See, it's not just $12,000. You gotta think about what that does for you over the course of your lifetime. So I'm 31 years old. Let's say around retirement age, around 60 or so, what will that turn into? And you can calculate this using a compound interest calculator. Okay, this is the power of the compound interest calculator. This is why you got to watch my other video on the power of compound interest if this isn't something you already get. Okay, so that $12,000 after 30 years turns into more than $200,000. $200,000. We make a temporary move for 8 months, and that turns into $200,000. See, that's the power of saving money in a major way. It's not that you're just saving money right then and there. It's $12,000. That's $200,000. See, you give it another decade to compound, another 7 years or so, it turns into like, you know, double that, $400,000. Right, so that's how you create generational wealth, by making smart, proactive decisions right now. And now for that bonus topic I was telling you guys about. So what's the other reason we moved here? Well, real estate. We want to get a rental property here in Arizona. Arizona is actually one of the hottest real estate markets in the country, Phoenix and Tucson. And so we figure we're gonna come here, get a rental property, buy a property, rent it out, watch it grow, appreciate, and we'll have that pretty much forever. Never sell it, just take that money, have tenants live in it, have them pay the mortgage, take that cash flow and use it to get another rental property. So, you know, just to give you guys overall basis, this is how we invest our money. Primarily, we invest our money through index funds. An index fund is basically a fund with a whole bunch of stocks or other securities in it. So one called VTSAX is an index fund that has all 3,000 plus stocks in the stock market. So that's where we put most of our money in. But we also want to diversify and try something else like real estate, because you know, maybe the stock market goes down, real estate will be up, or vice versa. We're still in the process of trying to get a rental property. We haven't bought one yet. It's really kind of hard to find one because the market here is like super competitive. So I mean, we could have got one like the very first day we got here, but we're kind of being a little bit picky. We're trying to find a good deal. At one point we did make an offer on a house, but like this cash buyer just got us out. They actually offered around the same amount that we did, like $1,000 less than we did. But since it's cash, that means the seller doesn't have to, they don't have to go through the whole process of making sure that our financing doesn't go through or anything like that. With cash, it's a lot more reliable. So if all else being equal, if you've got a cash offer versus a financing offer, then they're always going to go for the cash offer. So that's something we've got to kind of deal with. You got to offer a little bit more if you want to put up with that. That's pretty much it. That's why we moved from Tucson, Arizona to the Bay Area. So make sure, again, you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. I hope you guys learned a lot. Remember, be proactive about reducing your expenses and raising your income. You got to have both offense and defense. All right?